We have an obese teenager presenting for consultation of bariatric surgery. She currently has PCOS with irregular periods, fatty liver disease, secondary hypertension, acne, pediatric sleep apnea, type 2 diabetes, and hypertriglyceridemia. She weighs 312 pounds, 67 inches, and is a 50.4 BMI. Overall, her labs looked okay, but her kidneys were not shown to be filtering waste properly. Her 24-hour dietary recall was overall relatively poor. They all seem to be very high calorie, high processed, low protein, high fat foods that are all easily accessible to her. The site consult is for a laparoscopic gastric bypass. It seems as though she's struggling with parental dynamics. She goes a week on, week off with either household, and in one household her parents aren't home very often, and in the other household she practices the Greek religion with her yaya and her father, and they eat large amounts of traditional Greek foods and sweets. I would like to know what her parents' eating habits look like. I would like to know if she's ever seen a therapist, and I would like to know if there has ever been any talk of medications for her for the hypertension and the hypertriglyceridemia, and then how are her PCOS symptoms being managed. In the adolescent weight assessment, it seems as though she does know she weighs too much. She does get bullied at school. She does get teased. She chooses not to participate in exercise at school as much as she can. But when she talks about the motivation in the future for changing these habits, she says someday in many of her answers. Many of her answers are alluding to binge eating disorder. She eats large amounts of food in a short amount of time, 2 to 3 times a week. She seeks comfort in food and she eats when she is not hungry. She does not she does not purge. My first PES statement would be binge eating disorder related to overeating with guilt, eating when full, using food as an emotional comfort, hiding when others are eating, hiding from others when she is eating large amounts of food in a shorter period of time, as evidenced by a BMI of 50.4 and a gain of 45 pounds over the last year. My other PES statement would be obesity class 3 related to physical inactivity and emotional overeating with guilt 2 to 3 times a week, as evidenced by a BMI of 50.4, a gain of 45 pounds, hyperlipidemia, and fatty liver disease. My nutrition intervention would be transitioning her through the phases of bariatric surgery. First phase is clear liquids, then thickened liquids, then soft foods, and then going back to a diabetic diet. We want to aim for 80 grams of protein for metabolism, 60 ounces of water, and then we want to stop water consumption 30 minutes before and after meals to prevent overfilling. The patient must be really mindful of when she's eating, taking her time, eating through meals, thoroughly chewing foods, and then dosing her insulin appropriately. This infographic here shows the pyramid of foods that she should be eating with serving sizes included. So we are listing things that should be included in her diet daily. We are showing in that yellow second from the top things that she should be wary of, things that she should be eating less of, and then at the top things that she should absolutely be avoiding in that infographic. Based on her goals, I want to make sure that she and her parents work together to find meals that she can eat. She is not the primary person grocery shopping. Therefore, her parents need to have accessible food that she can eat at home when they are not there. That is extremely important in her mother's house, and they should not be only supplying frozen food for her to eat. They should be supplying other foods for her to eat. That is number one priority. I also want to help her understand the triggers that she has for emotional eating and work through those, figure out when they occur. Cultural competence for this case would be, I really do want her to understand that she needs to be very careful about what she's eating when she's in those Greek family situations where she's eating large amounts of food over huge amounts of time. She is absolutely more than welcome to continue the Greek culture, celebrating surrounding large meals, and she should feel like she can be a part of those things, but also being very careful, mindful about what she's eating, how she's dosing her insulin, staying away from sweets, all of those good things. Equity and knowledge for Greek food can also help relate and connect to her as well, considering she seems to go to church. She really enjoys that. That's a part of her self-identity. And then nutrition monitoring for her is, I really want the parents to be extremely involved in her counseling process. They need to be aware that they should be stocking her with appropriate foods that she can eat. They need to understand the ins and outs of insulin highs and lows. And then I want regular labs done by her PCP, surgical team, endocrinologists. We want to lower all of these symptoms at once. We want to manage her PCOS symptoms, the BMI. We want to manage the hypertension. We want to manage all these things at the same time by lowering her weight.